This is the inbound secret.
My name is Bryce, and I'm your host for The Inbound Secret, where we're talking with top performers and health experts and sales badasses alike about their strategies to optimize their well-being and performance. Once again, this is The Inbound Secret, and let's get rocking and rolling.
This is the inbound. This is the inbound. This is the inbound. The inbound. This is the inbound secret.
What is going on, everybody? Bryce here with the Inbound Secret and Funnel Driven LLC. And I've got Lori with us today. And Lori, I'm just going to let you do your introduction because I can't do it justice as much as you can. So let the wonderful people here on Facebook and YouTube know who you are, what you're about, and kind of where to get a hold of you.
Oh, gee. Okay. My name is Lori Rehn. I own an industrial supply company. We're 100% women-owned, certified women-owned, small business, which matters in the space that we're in. We do a lot of contracting with the government, the cities, the counties. And then there's a whole lot of big business like Caesars Entertainment and MGM. They have diversity programs that reach out to businesses like mine. So if you can get any of these type of certifications, if you're disabled, if you're female, if you're living in an underutilized area, or not living, your office is in an underutilized area, it's totally worth it because there's a lot of opportunity that we sometimes don't think about for every avenue of business. It's not just for specific items like what I sell, it's for everything. It doesn't matter if you're coaching, if you're doing marketing, if you're doing human resource, if you have a business, you could possibly get a lot of benefit out of this. So that's
awesome.
In a nutshell, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Half of those programs, just so everybody here's aware, I think this is my third company, Funnel Driven, and I've got like 4 after that. And I didn't know half of these programs existed. So when Lori comes out and starts telling you about like programs or spiffs or how she's helped or associations, like she's the woman to talk to. By all means, take everything she says to heart. She's here to help. Now, there's one exciting thing that I want to bring up before we kind of just banter and chit chat and catch up. And that is you and your company are like the heroes of distribution of disinfectant and cleaning supplies during this epidemic. I want everybody here to like kind of know, 1, how you made that work, 2, even talk about like some holes in your ships, like just be real, raw, relevant, tell people like you don't, like people are freaking out and people don't know how to get through it. And there's this great stuff. Mindset stuff is huge. I'm a big believer in it, FYE hat, but like some practicality needs to come into this that a lot of people aren't getting from seeing some of these things. And I've gotten to know you as a good friend through our networks, and we've gotten to know each other. And I've seen you kind of just grab this tragedy by the balls and just make it work for you and the people and help a ton of people that you wouldn't have been able to without. So I want everybody here to kind of hear it from your words, your mouth, of how this isn't like the end all be all, but there are resources that most people don't know about to help them.
Well, my business is industrial supplies. So my company takes care of all buildings, all the maintenance in buildings. We don't perform service. We only have products. So drain openers, lubricants, things like that. We do have a line of sanitizers, a much bigger one now. COVID approved disinfectants, hand sanitizers, a gazillion of those now. We used to only have one version. Now I've got packaging from 4 ounce all the way up to a gallon, depending on what the client needs. Wipes, which are very hard to come by right now, but when we can get them, we bring in as many as we can. We have masks. We're getting a full line of PPE. And I think the biggest benefit that I personally had when all of this happened is, 1, we had product that people needed. And so we were able to fill the needs really quickly of our clients, which was great. And secondly, I've been around long enough to know that I need to manage my business with an extra emergency. I always have an emergency fund, and it's a significant emergency fund. If I needed to pay my employees for 6 months, I want to have that fund there. And so I was able to take a majority of that money and invest it right back into, we got into masks, we're getting into PPE, which is personal protection equipment, all kinds of things I had to pay for up front because I wasn't already using the current vendor. So because I have that long-term mentality with my business, we were able to jump in and provide products faster and provide more relevant products, because the other product that I carry, the 400 other catalog items, that they're just sitting in my warehouse. The tools are sitting there, the vests, all kinds of other things are just sitting there doing nothing. The drain openers, nobody wants that. They want the hand sanitizers, they want the surf and disinfectant, and they want the PPE. So that's what we're selling them, and that's what we're providing. And so I feel really blessed that I had that right frame of mind on the business end of it, the financial end of it, that I don't take everything out of my business. I put back in just as much, and I always have my rainy day fund, always. The holes in the ship, holy cow. When
I know this feeling all too well. I don't know if you guys can see super well or not, but I've got the whiteboard back here. Hold on, let me turn so this isn't awkward. The whiteboard back here, that's now just G code. Like that's my in my face, slap me around reminder of G code. And then I've got, I don't know, 9 other screens. And this book right here that, by the way, I picked this up. It's hilarious. It says, "Nobody cares. Work harder. Your life, your rules." I fucking love that thing. But in here, I'm about a fifth of the way through like content and corrections and like patches for the holes in my quote unquote ship that I didn't know existed before COVID. And COVID comes and I'm like, oh shit, okay, let's fix this. So I've got about a fifth of it written down there and the rest is still being worked on. But out of everybody, you're the one. I remember watching a video that you, and I think it was one of our executive calls, and I remember you talking about the holes that you discovered in your ship and what you were doing to take care of it. And I'm like, fuck, I've had like all of those. So you were a big influence on helping me fix these, and I appreciate you for that. And I know the people that are going to be watching this are going to appreciate it as well.
Thanks, Bryce. I'm glad I was able to give you some inspiration. So there's nothing you can do about the holes right now except for take them in, learn as much as you possibly can, and have a plan for when we come out of this. Because what I have found is that you really see in these times of immense stress who people really are. And you need to remember that. Because when it goes back to fluff and easy again, and it will, it's always a, the wax and wane, it's always going to come up and down. It will get easier. And when it gets easier, the people you like, you have to remember how they acted under extreme pressure. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they may not be the best employees in that position. I've actually had to make some changes in my company of key people who just can't do the job that they were in. And it's got, one, it has to do with me. At the end of the day, did I not train properly? Did I not set up the expectations? Where did I, as the owner, make any mistakes in educating, coaching, telling them our vision, or sharing our vision, where are we going? And then some people want to do a specific job. They really want to, but they can't. And that's totally okay. I've got a fabulous staff, and so we will work together and everyone will still have a position. It'll just be, let's find the right spot for that. A couple other things I'm grateful for is my mindset is better than it's ever been in my entire life. And without that mindset, I wouldn't be able to handle everything that's been going on. It's no fault of ours. We ordered a bunch of masks from China, of course, the KN95 and then the disposables. And they were delayed. I had like the US Navy on the phone with me. I had to think I'd go up like 3 or 4 levels of people talking to them, just being calm, listening to everybody being stressed and frustrated because they couldn't get the materials that they needed that we promised we could get. And we did what we were supposed to, and then customs got in the way. And then they get to the airport at LAX to be unloaded from the plane, and guess what? There's not enough workers because people aren't coming to work because they're afraid of COVID. So now planes are sitting on the tarmac for 5 and 6 and 7 days. And then you've got to get it to, so there's somewhere that takes it from the plane, and then it's got to go through customs, and then it's got to go to a freight forwarder who sends it to someone else. And getting one shipment from LA to the San Francisco area, which is where my office is, which is normally a day. Took 7 days. And I was losing now I was calm, and in previous years, I probably would have lost my mind, but nothing I could do. All I could do was be patient, be kind to the people I was talking to on the phone, because it wasn't them either. We were all just doing the best we could. And I think that's my biggest takeaway through this is I'm learning as much as I can. I'm going to move forward better than I ever have, but me as a person and my mind are in such a good place to handle this type of stress. And if there's anything you can work on, and I do this daily, it's always the mindset. I start in the morning reflecting. I start putting my attention for the day. I write down my gratitudes, and I really focus on that. And when I'm having the freak out, because we all do, heck, nobody's perfect. And there are days when I wake up and I want to be the victim. And so I'll let myself wallow in my whatever I'm going through at that moment for however long I need to, but not longer than an hour. And then we got to get it back up and get going. And for me, that means I go for a walk, I exercise, do some push-ups, random weird stuff just to get my head out of my ass, so to speak, and then move forward and get into a better place.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. We don't get me wrong, like there have been moments that like shit hit the fan, and this isn't the first kind of epidemic. It's the first big one like this that I've experienced personally, but not the first one that their culture or country has by any means. Hopefully it will be the last, but we know it won't. That being said, like what you were just talking about, having that mindset that like no matter what gets thrown at you, you can remain calm and see a way through it. That's important, and it's something that I didn't always have either. And I think it was either right around the time that I joined executives or right before that really like sunk in. And I still remember it because in one of my last companies, like if I got hit with a chargeback fraud case that I had to fight to get my money back from Visa or Discover, whoever, like I would have just lost my mind. I would have freaked the fuck out. And I remember getting hit with one for like, it was like 40 grand or something. It was not a small amount of money. It was like 9 months worth of work for this client that he decided just one day, fuck it, gonna commit a felony. And granted, we won after all of it, and we've got a lawsuit for the time and money and attorneys, and we're suing him for lost time and damages, etc. But we got our money back from, I think, the majority of them. There were a few that Amex, just for whatever reason,
Someone just came to my Tank.
Is his name Tank?
His name is Tank.
Okay.
Hey. He's about 120 pound German Shepherd. He's a big old boy.
Oh, he's a big boy.
Just had
So what I was saying is I remember getting hit with that, and thankfully it all worked out because we were in the right. We document everything. We know we did right by them. They're still using and benefiting the shit that this was like 2 years ago or something. This was a while ago, and not quite 2 years, but somewhere around there. It was a while ago, and I remember getting hit with that, and I think I was talking to Adam and Drewby right after, because I just reached out to him on Facebook. I'm like, hey, could use some advice. And like I was calm and wasn't really worried about anything. And I just got hit with like the average person's annual wage in a chargeback. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I'll just make it back somewhere else. And like, I remember that because that was a big moment for me. It was a big moment for my mindset because I was like, I remember a month before that, I would have freaked the fuck out. Like I would have been flipping tables. Like it wouldn't have been a good day. And because of that mindset, just realizing that like shit happens, life goes on, and you can get through it. How can you help people get through it too? Was huge for me.
And that's the biggest thing too, is how can you help people get through it? And I try to remind myself of that too, is I'm stressed out, but I'm so blessed in so many ways. And if I'm just patient and calm and listen, and if I need to talk to all of the clients that the company has, and because my sales reps can't handle the pressure, then I'm happy to do it because I am in a place where I can. I didn't used to be. And so let's let's play that forward and help out everybody else. And really what I found through this is our clients, when they've been frustrated with delays for whatever reason, the delay is, they just want someone to listen. They don't want, that's the biggest takeaway that I've been trying to push to my sales team is don't ignore your clients. If you don't want to deal with it, because if you have a problem, a lot of people like to run and hide. But if you call your client and you listen, I've found in 90% of these calls, they just wanted someone to listen. That was it. They were frustrated and they needed someone to hear what they were saying, agree. You know, it does suck. It's totally frustrating. We're all scared, and it's just nice to know you're not alone. And I really believe that that's what I've been, or I know that's what I've been pushing in my team is, hey, let's really just take care of each other. And then if we're wrong, of course we're going to fix it. If we're not wrong, but the customer thinks we're wrong and they need us to do something, of course we're going to do that. We're here to help. We're here to serve. We're partners with our clients. And that's
Yeah, and I love that because it hasn't always been that way with my companies. Don't get me wrong. There, like when we started the company I started as in 2017, the morals and ethics have never changed. It's always been customer centric, making sure that they're taken care of. We're here to serve them, but the operational procedures have changed drastically, and a lot of those have to do with like. Here's a good example. Previously, it was we always assumed that the client was incorrect in their assumption. Because 99% of the time, that's what it boils down to is a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. But we always had that conversation. So whether it be me, my sales staff, et cetera, that's how that conversation was approached mentally. So we weren't listening to listen. We were listening to respond. And just shifting that to listen to just listen, because we're here to help, has made the world a difference, not only for us but for our clients, because we're still providing the same great service, excellent product, the resource. Now the difference is now they feel they have a confidant and not just a company that they hired. And so I think that's really important to come through, and that's one of the biggest things that like we've been pushing, and I've reached out to friends and family, you being one of them, and like Danny and all of them, to implement small things that like are my weak points personally, to make sure that the clients know they're appreciated. So we did like a COVID relief program for onboarding. We did a COVID relief program that's still going on. We're still working out logistics for existing clients. We implemented like a weekly check-in form through phone sites so that people can just reach out to us. We've started implementing like doing handwritten thank yous. Like we've completely gone above and above, like outside of our normal board of operations to bring these things in that are personally my weak points. But I think it's important to recognize that we all know as business owners and as professionals that we're all in this together with our clients and we're here to support each other. But our clients don't know that until we show them.
That's exactly right. I feel like some people think that that we just see them as a paycheck. And quite frankly, there are a million companies out there and salespeople that's the truth. I mean, that they don't care about their clients. And those of us that really care about our clients, it does come through. And it comes through in just exactly everything you just said, in the ways that you're trying to help out and take care of people and help them with their business, or just be a sounding board. I mean, all of that makes such a big difference. Totally
and it's interesting, like things that happen that you don't think are a big deal, at least for me, like something clicks one day and you're like, oh, I could fix that, or I could improve on that. Like a good example, a mutual friend of ours is a client of mine, and we've been doing some web stuff. And we had to go back because we were wrong about our assessment on billables. So we had to go back and invoice again. And I hate that. Like I always hate that. And because of that instant, I spent like, I think just shy of a week, just shy of 7 days, completely restructuring our billing program for that particular side, so that never has to happen again, regardless of the situation. So something that you don't even see as a problem, like to somebody in a company that actually does care about their clients, like you, like makes you change something so that it doesn't have to continue.
Exactly. And that's the best thing we can do, is just improve every day.
Yep. So let's kind of flip script here for a second. We've talked about COVID. We've talked about your company. We heard a lot of borking. So I've got to ask, tell us about your doggo.
My dog, his name is Tank. He's a 120-ish pound German Shepherd. He's awesome. He's 9. I used to have 2, and I lost one a couple of years ago. I never could have kids, and so they were my kid replacements for the dog. So when I talk about them like they're my kid, because they are my kid. I mean, I'd say it's embarrassing, but you know what? I've got so many other dog friends that I know I'm not alone, and I'm cool with it. I love those boys, and now the boy. Yeah.
Just own it. Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't heard him yet, but I've got a cat named Tuxedo. That he's a great cat. I've had him for a while, but he's very talkative, very needy. I'm sure people watching this, you've heard meow in the background several times. That's Tux. It's always Tux. He's running around, romping around, meowing, talking, wanting attention. So I get it. I mean, I don't have children myself. I'm still young, so I still could. But I don't have the time for children personally right now. I'm trying to help change the world, not just change one little toddler's life right now. At some point that may happen. At some point it may not. Everybody's got their own decision there. So I can respect the animal thing.
And you're young enough that you've got plenty of time. And you know what, not to be sexist, but you're a man, so you really can have them whenever you want to.
Yeah, I mean, if we're calling a spade, yeah, it's genetically easier. Yeah,
it is. You don't really have like a timeline in which it's better for your body.
I mean, unless I like throw out a hip or something, like that would cause some complications.
Yeah. Well, you have a young wife, right? So she can take care of the baby and you.
Ideally, that would be the situation. Yeah. No, I'm single as hell right now, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Which does give me a lot of freedom for like. There's always this conversation. We've gone completely off script, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed. It like there's this historical conversation of freedom when you're single versus freedom when you're in a relationship, and I don't think they have to be different. I just have noticed that they typically are. And so like right now, if I wanted to, I could go fight the disaster of travel situations and go travel somewhere if I absolutely wanted to. Whereas like in previous relationships, that would not have been an option. It just would have ended in like fights and just wouldn't have been worth it. But then again, that's why I'm single now. So
that's why you're single, and you need the. So I just recently left a 24-year marriage, and so in looking towards my future, I thought, well, I've been making the same mistake, so I'm gonna be very split. I'm taking a year to figure out who I am, what I'm doing, what I've been doing wrong, if you will, to make these decisions that aren't working out. So how can I be who I want to be and be. If I'm looking for a specific type of relationship, how can I also give to that type of relationship? So I actually did a 7-page back, front and back, I think it's a 5x7 journal. It's not a 8.5 by 11 of the perfect mate. And then I read through it and I think, okay.
You did your perfect spouse?
I did my perfect spouse. Yeah. And awesome. I'm like, and I was very proud of myself because in a younger me, I'm sure it would have started with physical stuff. And in the mature version of me, it's 6.5 pages of the spiritual, the emotional, the able to communicate. And there are a couple paragraphs about what I'd ideally like someone to look like, but it made a big difference because now I know if I had someone in my life who would freak out, and I did, who would freak out when I did things for me, and it would cause fights, but I still stayed with it. I would never settle for that now, ever. Yeah. There's no reason. And now it's on paper. Like I wrote it down and I am going to refer to that.
Now it's a thing.
Yep, absolutely. I do not want to make the same mistake again. I want to be the person I'm looking for. I want to be a good compliment. So you can't just have this wish list and then be a jackass, right? You got to also forward.
Yeah, that's important because like everybody always talks, and I've been guilty of this before, but everybody always talks about like their ex, like everything in their past is insane, right? And like that's just the culture we live in. For whatever reason, that happens to be the general populace's idea. And like at one point I had that. And then I mean, I've seen counselors on a regular basis. I've seen therapists. I've done hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout my life worth of like personal development, masterminds, coaches, classes, digital products, etc. And it's all been hugely helpful. And to this day, I think the hardest thing that I've ever had to do was like self-reflect to the point where like you're fixing yourself. So you have that aha moment. And you're like, fuck, I was toxic. Like that's a shitty thing to realize. But it gives you like, it's kind of empowering, because then when you start fixing those things, you start realizing that like, yeah, you could have this shopping list of what you want, but if you're not giving to it just as it's giving to you, one, it's never going to happen. And two, it's kind of a douche move if it does happen and you're just an asshat about it. You know?
Totally. Yeah, and I completely agree with you. That's been I think the biggest takeaway. The last few years have been hugely transformative for me.
Mm-hmm.
Done a lot of personal development, same as you, spent a lot of money and time. And I'm so grateful for it. And I really realized, holy crapola. Here I am thinking, oh, it's them. And it's just as much me, baby. And so now I really, when I see myself triggered by anything, now the good thing is I've got that great mindset. And I'm talking business, I'm talking friendships, I'm talking neighbor. It don't matter. I step back and say, okay, what is it about the situation that is bothering me, because I actually carry this and I may not have accepted it yet. And once you start to look at that stuff, it's like, holy crap. You know, it's really interesting. I think it's very interesting and fun and fascinating.
Well, it's so weird because, like, even when you get, like, you start noticing things that you wouldn't notice previously. Like, say, a friend or an employee or a partner, whoever, somebody you care about, like, something seems off, like, you notice it. And then you notice how you react to it. And then you're like, wait, am I helping or am I hurting this situation? And then, like, you really do start recognizing patterns and things that you do. And I agree. I think it's intriguing. It's definitely an intriguing thing.
Totally agree with you.
It's super. I don't know how we got on this conversation.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So while we're just flowing with the random conversation train, and while I'm waiting for food, I don't know if you noticed as looking down, I DoorDashed some food because I'm starving. And that being said, tell me about like what's new in the life of Lori. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Are the lockdowns done there? Like, fill me in.
No, Texas is opening up. Yesterday our gyms opened, and so I'm going to go, when we're off this call, I'm going to head on out to that because I didn't go yesterday. I was very busy. I have a good takeaway from the lockdown. I travel extensively for work. I've got employees all over the United States, clients all over. I love to be with the clients. I love to go meet our clients, appreciate their business, see what we can do better, help with the team. So I literally am gone 2 to 3 weeks a month. It's nuts. And it's okay. Except for now I have been, and in September, I moved from California to Texas. And so I bought this new house and I haven't been in it very much. So now I've been in it and I've been forced to be in it since mid-March, and I may rethink my travel. I love my house. It's nice to sleep in the same bed every night. I mean, this random stuff that I didn't have an appreciation for because I like what I do. I like working. I'm enjoying what I do every day, but I'm liking being at home. So I'm gonna take a minute to think about that for more than a minute, because that's been a good takeaway from the lockdown. I never would have stayed home for 8 weeks in a row. It's going to be probably 3 months before I get back on the road because I'm all over the place. I need to get back to New York. I had a big appointment in New York City right when all this happened, and I really need to get back to that meeting, but I think I'll wait. I'll wait just a few more months to go there.
Talking about travel, I don't travel as much as you do, but I think I took 20 something trips last year. And so travel quite a bit, which is kind of odd because people ask me, why do you travel so much? Because I don't need to. I mean, theoretically, I could work from a bungalow in Uruguay as long as there was Wi-Fi and I had a laptop, right? Because my team's not just me. There's 115 total contractors, just above that now, that I have access to that work on exclusive projects for us. We sign them on exclusive 1099s. And so that gives my clients the access they need, gives me the access they need, gives the freedom that we need to be able to travel. But I travel because I like being around certain people. I like being around our clients. I like making sure they're taken care of. Now, that has not always worked in our favor. Sometimes I've lost my ass on, on travel to go see a client to make something happen. But in the end, it was good. I've had to cancel, I think, 3 or 4 trips since this started because I had like booked out flights and reservations, and then COVID came in. It was like, those are gone. So we've had to change those. Luckily, though, I hear that we're all supposed to meet in Texas the 1st of June.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm excited about it. So I booked my reservations. Everything's all good. As long as COVID stays down and we don't have to worry about any more craziness, I will definitely be there because I miss seeing everybody.
Good.
But I think it'll be interesting I think it'll be good to see everybody and see how like things have gone for everybody. Because I know all of us have experienced the same stuff. Shit hit the fan. Shit happened. We had to fix shit. We had to take care of people. We had to make stuff happen. And I think and tell me if you agree on this or like your point, but I think my favorite thing that I was able to do during this, and it has to do with like helping people by actually helping people, was I didn't have to fire anybody. And in fact, I actually hired a couple people during this, but more importantly, I was still able to make payroll, still be able to take care of our clients. And don't get me wrong, we had setbacks. We're behind on a few things because people took time off or got sick or had travel restrictions, but we still pushed to make things happen for our clients. And we were still able to take care of our clients and our employees and our contractors. And to me, that meant a lot because while the world's going crazy, and unfortunately there are people out of work that are relying on stimulus in the government, and that's helpful and that's great, that I mean something is there. I'm quite proud that I was able to still support my people during this epidemic.
And you rightly so. I mean, that's absolutely huge that you were able to do that and add more people. That's great.
Yeah, it's been good. I think it's my favorite part of this crazy tragedy because I saw like friends companies and associates that I had met or previous employers that are struggling. And while we didn't focus on bringing on really a ton of new clients, we really kind of focused on ourselves, making our processes better, streamlining things, making the experience better. We're still taking care of people. And I think that's important, especially in a situation where like people don't know if they are being taken care of or what's going to happen.
I totally agree. And one thing you said, which is huge, is that you may not be taking on new clients or actively pursuing, but you're streamlining your processes so that when you come out on the other side, you've taken this time and you've been as productive as you could, one, in providing product for your current clients, and then two, preparing for a better product in the future. And that's one thing I've been working on too. I've been so busy providing products, I haven't worked on my internal structure as much, but it is something I am working on because I haven't never been home as much. So I have plenty of time in front of the laptop if I want to do it. Did you hear the word if I want to? It's always the if I want to. It has to be done. I don't want to, but it has to be done.
That can be a dangerous statement, though, that if I want to.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, like yesterday, I worked lazy as shit. I still got everything that I needed done, and more so than I needed done. But I wasn't in here like with all the stuff and the light and the motivation and the power. Like I was chilling under a blanket on my couch, reclined back with like the TV on for background noise and a laptop in my lap. Like yesterday was a lazy work day and I feel great about it. But like I could have easily fallen off that bandwagon there and just like napped all day on the couch.
Sometimes you need those days. And if you took a little nap in between the blankie and the laptop, that's okay. And the cat.
Oh, yeah, Tux doesn't let me nap a whole lot.
No.
No, like, so... No, so like he's an attention whore. I'll be honest. So he comes out, adorable cat, but he's a big cat. He's not a small one. So like when he wants attention, if he doesn't get attention, like he'll wake you up Like he'll meow, he'll pat you in the face a little bit. He'll walk all over you. He'll meow. You'll wake up. He's not letting you sleep. It's he wants attention, so it's happening.
Hey, cats are hilarious. I used to have 3 cats and the 2 big German Shepherds, and we had one cat that he would in the middle of the night, he would reach out with his claw and he'd get your vein on your hand, and he just so it would start, and you think, what the heck? And where do they think of? It's a cat. How do they think of these crazy ways to wake you up? Like just one little claw, and then take it back and stare at you, and just stare at you and stare at you, sitting on your chest or whatever they do. Yeah, I miss having a cat.
Tux will, so like when I'm sleeping, if I'm just laying down, right? Say I'm just laying down here, I typically sleep on my side. So Tux will come up, and if I'm not awake when he wants me to be awake, and it's normally because he's bougie and he wants wet food, even though he has an auto feeder of dry food because he's a chunk, he'll come up and like sniff my face and then just nibble on my nose.
Oh.
If that doesn't wake me up, then he'll paw me on the nose. And then if that doesn't wake up, then he just does like the old cliche grandma, like this, like he'll do that with paws, and then he'll just scream at me.
He's like, I tried to do it the nice way, Dad.
Yeah. And then he'll just sit there and be like, meow, just over and over and over again. And
so does he go, sorry to interrupt, does he go and find like the most echoey part in your bedroom? One of our cats used to do that, find where the acoustics were the best and meow and howl. You were like, how do you know this is the spot?
The correct answer to that is of the house. Not just of the room. Because like there'll be times where he's just chilling in the kitchen for whatever reason, just howling. Like we don't know what he's complaining about, but he's there. And then he doesn't like closed doors. So I don't let him in the garage. I don't let him outside. He's an indoor cat. And to get to the garage, you go through like the laundry room and you've got the double doors there. So if anybody goes in and out of that door at any point that he sees, he then complains that he wasn't part of that action at the door for easily an hour.
For an hour, you're going to hear about it. That's funny.
Yeah, he's a funny little guy. So we've talked about a little of everything today.
We have.
So let's wrap up because I know you're busy. I've got some stuff that I've got to handle too. And then we will be seeing each other, I think, in a couple weeks, hopefully. So let's tell like the public, the amazing people watching this, how they can get a hold of you if they have questions, if they want to join part in the women empowerment stuff you're doing, if they want to purchase product or they know somebody that needs some help from Proline, give them all the deets.
Okay, so the best way, you're always welcome to call my office, and that number is 1-800, I'm going to go slow, 263-9436. It's Proline Industrial, all one word.com. We've got all kinds of products. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at Lori, Lori, at prolineindustrial.com. Besides the woman empowerment, if I can help you with the certified small business, because if you're not, you really should try to get these certifications. They're obnoxious as far as paperwork, but it does open a lot of doors that you wouldn't normally think of. And in this day and age, there's competition everywhere, and there's more and more because there's more and more people. If there's anything extra you can do to get that extra little check mark when people are looking for specific companies, I totally think it's worth your time. I can either help you through it, I can give you the website to go through, I can give you a certifying company that you have to pay, but that will help you with all the paperwork. Whatever I can do to help, I'm absolutely here for you. And
just so everybody knows, and for me, because there may be things that I should apply for. That being said, are you talking about certified.sba, just so we all know? Or are you talking
so certified.sba is for small, you can get certified as a small business, yes. Mm-hmm. And if you can, you should. And then there's other things that if you have your office in it's called a hub, it's a something urban zone, and it means that it's an underutilized part of a state or a city. Like HUD developments? Hub development. So if you get certified in a hub zone and your business is in the hub zone, you get all kinds of extra stuff for that. Now, the only caveat with that, the reason I can't do it is I think it's 35% of your employees must also be in that same area, in that same location. But there's so many perks just for reaching out and taking a look to see what other kind of certifications you can get. You can get, anything you're doing locally, your state and your city for sure, because cities now are trying to do a lot with local business, they will have something for local small business that they first go to their small businesses that are located in their city. And we're talking anything. We're talking products. We're talking services. It could be coaching. It could be digital services. It could be advertising. It could be mentoring. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hair salons. I mean, I'm not joking. Everybody can go get this stuff, and it does make a difference to have it on your resume. And use it. You can do all of it by yourself. It doesn't cost any money. If you don't have the desire to, and I don't, I actually pay other companies to do this for me. It's not that expensive. I was
gonna say, I don't feel like I want to have to nitpick and put everything together. Like I will gladly take somebody's assistance on that. So because of that, I'm actually going to take you up on the offer on this recording. Do you mind Facebooking me some resources that I can take a look at?
I will be happy to do that. Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
and then for
no problem.
everybody watching, you saw it firsthand. I'm taking advantage of it, so you should too. Hit up Lori. She's more than happy to help.
Happy to help. Thank you for your time, Bryce. I appreciate being on your podcast.
Thank you.
This is the Inbound Secret.
My name is Bryce, and I'm your host for The Inbound Secret, where we're talking with top performers and health experts and sales badasses alike about their strategies to optimize their well-being and performance. Once again, this is The Inbound Secret, and let's get rocking and rolling.
This is the Inbound. This is the Inbound. This is the Inbound. This is the Inbound